Hello everyone, I'm Coach Jay Powell. Today I'm going to go over my philosophy of education. It's an assignment for Educational Technology 5750, and I'm going to briefly go over my philosophy, and then I'm going to mention three goals that I'm going to use to integrate technology into my class. After that, I'm going to answer a couple questions about part one, how I've changed since taking the class, and what I plan to do next, and what's yet to come as far as a lifelong learner. Okay, I always had a feeling that I would be a teacher and a coach from a young age. Both my parents were in education. My dad was a history teacher and a coach for about 10 years. And my mom is a retired elementary teacher of 25 years. I felt like I was predestined, if you will, to be in education even while I was in high school. The teaching styles that I liked or preferred at that time were the ones that were engaging and, at least slightly entertaining. Teachers that only lectured and had a one-way interaction, they failed to keep my attention. So I always tried to interject some humor, and sometimes the teachers would find my humor entertaining and sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I got referred to the office to receive some form of corporal punishment. But playing sports became life for me, and I loved every coach I had. I knew I really wanted to be a coach, so I could continue being part of the game of football in particular. I loved the training that went into sports, and so this led me to an undergraduate degree in physical education. While I was a little more than halfway through college, was when we all experienced the fallout of 9/11 attacks. And of course this changed the course of America and had a significant impact on me personally, since both of my grandfathers were in World War II and shared many stories with me as a kid. This led to another round of kind of self-fulfilled prophecy that I went on to join the United States Army Infantry in 2005, and I always had the feeling that I would fight a war like they did. I became Ranger qualified and served in Iraq from 2007 through 2008. So while in the Army, I was given more rank for my education and was considered for more leadership assignments in schools. I paid particularly close attention to how the education in the military worked. And first of all, surviving in combat was the main goal. So this was kind of a game changer for me and most everyone else in the Army, because when you're teaching or learning from the mental framework of you need this to survive or to save your buddy's life, there's more importance or pressure to learn the material and drop any material that's not relevant. Everywhere turns into a makeshift classroom, and training, teaching, and rehearsals are always going on in the military. This training is usually assessed or evaluated under simulated stress and drills and given either a pass or fail grade. So for instance, in Ranger School, all the students are deprived of food and sleep, and then pushed to an extreme amount of physical exertion to simulate combat stress, and then evaluated to see how the student performs in leadership positions under these conditions. You're then either given pass or fail. The main teacher tool in the Army is rehearsal, 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 until the material is second nature or locked into what we call muscle memory, so that happens naturally in combat, because one cannot think logically under the duress of a firefight. So I try to shape these principles that I've learned from my own high school and college education, along with some styles I picked up from my time in the Army, to create my own teaching philosophy. I do have a high level of personal self-discipline. I give respect and expect respect from my students and players, but not in a complete militaristic way. My main takeaway from the military that applies to education is giving students the necessary information to exceed and having them master it through multiple repetitions. In doing this, they can repeat it in a high-pressure game or test from muscle memory, no matter what amount of stress they're under. And so in conclusion, learning has to be fun. If it's not fun, kids will tune you out and will try to make it fun for themselves. To keep kids engaged, I use any form of new technology that is available to me. This includes laptops, computers, iPads, mobile phones, or anything as simple as adding music to a classroom. I believe the most important thing that is included in my teaching and coaching philosophy is kids have to know that you care. Once they know that you care about them, they're motivated to perform to their fullest potential. Alright, as far as 3 goals of how I plan to integrate technology into teaching after I completed this class. First of all, I want to make sure that we're engaging with technology. I think the lesson has to be engaging, and I just believe that students find that when you're being interactive and with technology, or some kind of video or some kind of other form of material than just lecture, I think students become more engaged. I also believe in maintaining an interactive digital platform. We just had that added 2 years ago, and so no matter what class I'm using, I always set it up in Google Classroom where the students have a chance to interact through that platform. I can communicate with them that way as well too. Alright, and another thing is teaching digital citizenship. I believe that's really important, and it's something I picked up in this class as well. And I think that's important for the students to for it to be taught, for students to get a good grasp on that too. So part 1, how have I changed? Summarize what I learned in this course. I really thought that the class opened up my eyes a little bit more to technology, especially when it comes into using it in the classroom. There's a lot of discussions. The first one being classroom integration. That was good. Learning theories and action and goals. Writing out my philosophy of education. Alright, that includes using technology and that kind of opened my eyes as well. Let's see, practicing what you preach. Alright, teaching digital literacy. That's what I was talking about earlier, how it's important that the students are learning that too. There's a lot of assignments too, OER review, group projects. All those were very helpful. Alright, what was your best assignment, activity, and why? I'd say the digital literacy unit was good, just because it forced me into going and researching what I need to do for digital literacy, and I kind of heard the term, but I wasn't really familiar what it was, and so that helped me out there, just forcing me to go in there and making that research and making that connection, and actually once I found it, I was actually teaching it to my middle school classes, so it was a way to get active with it too. Alright, part 2, what will I do next? Describe how you will implement at least one thing you have learned in this class, under what conditions the implementation will be most successful. And once again, I've already implemented it once, but taking it as far as we can go. But really, digital citizenship for middle school, I think, is very important. It's important for all ages, but I think middle school is really that time where a lot of cyberbullying is going on, and kids are just really using the internet, maybe for bad ways that we could kind of correct by teaching about digital citizenship. Part 3, what's yet to come, lifelong learning. What are your future teaching goals with respect to educational technology's impact on teaching and learning? And I think this is just staying up to date on educational technology. Alright, and it's not that big of a thing for me because I actually enjoy the technology and that sort of thing. So that's my goal, but it's also my kind of lifelong learning goal too. What do teachers need to know, believe, and be able to do in order to teach for meaningful learning using technology. And I think it's believed that they can still adapt to new technology. That new technology is always changing, but being able to adapt to it. And what the district leaders need to know, believe, and do to support teaching for meaning learning using technology. And I think this is good for any leaders to be in touch with what resources teachers and students need. In my district in Jackson County next year, that the school leaders have got Chromebooks for all the students. It's the one-to-one. Each student in the whole county system will receive a Chromebook, and so I guess we'll be fully integrated starting next year. And what other factors need to be taken into consideration to ensure that students have a meaningful learning experience with respect to effective technology integration? And I think it's respect for each other, all right, through digital citizenship. All right, respect for the equipment. I'm kind of worried about that with the new Chromebooks. How are students going to treat the equipment, the physical equipment? I mean, are we going to constantly be having to fix them and send them back for repairs, or just how that part's a bridge that we have to cross? But hopefully they'll respect the equipment too, and I think we got to teach them that. All right, and then respect for the content on the internet. So that's content content still belongs to people that's put it up there, and you can use that information, that content, but you have to cite it correctly and give credit where it's due and reference it and all that. And I think that's something that kids have to be taught too. I mean, because it's basically, you see it on the internet and you think it's fair game and free for anybody to use, but it actually it belongs to somebody, and it's intellectual property, if you will, of somebody. So it has to be cited and referenced and used accordingly. All right, thanks for watching, and appreciate it. And I really enjoyed the class. Hope I summed that up correctly and gave a good reflection of my teaching philosophy. Thanks.